Why is India watching Taiwan? As ties between the two countries continue to grow, so does interest in understanding Taiwan. So what stories capture the attention of Indian audiences? And what questions do they want answered? Joining me now in the studio are two Indian journalists covering Taiwan. Senior journalist Mukesh Kaushik, who reports on defense and foreign affairs for one of the biggest circulation newspapers in the world, and Suvam Pal, a producer with TaiwanPlus who has previously worked in South Africa, UAE, and China. Thank you both for joining me. Now, Mukesh, you're here on a Taiwan Foreign Ministry Fellowship. I'm curious to know, coming to Taiwan, what kinds of questions are you hoping to answer for your readers?
Interesting part of my job is right now also that I am remotely working. It's kind of, I am sitting in Delhi and reporting for my newspaper. Since I am having a benefit of sitting in Taiwan and Taipei, so my newspaper, my readers are also having this benefit of Deadline Taipei. My idea is to provide them as much as they want to know about Taiwan and also the dynamics of Taiwan and other related issues which Indians may interest to Indians.
And what do your readers want to know about Taiwan?
They are more curious about how Taiwan is seeing eye to a very large neighbor, China.
Yes.
We in India have kind of apathy towards Chinese, a kind of hate factor also. Mistrust is always there. There is no trust between China and India. So any country having a courage to see eye to this mainland China is very much interest for Indians.
Now, Suvam, you also have talked to me before about how this is a huge part of what Indian viewers are interested in. They're very curious about China, which also shares a border of India. Through your reporting for Connected and during your time here in Taiwan, what do you think Indian viewers are hoping to see from your content?
They want to see the Taiwan's stand against China, and it's a psychology of enemies, my friend. So India believes that Taiwan is one country which is facing an assertive and aggressive neighbor across the strait, and India is also sharing nearly 3,600 kilometers of land border with China. There is something which is bringing the two countries together.
What do Indian viewers know? What does the average Indian person know about Taiwan?
Unfortunately, not much about Taiwan. They don't know why it is called ROC and PRC. They don't differentiate between PRC and ROC.
How do you explain it? You must have to give context for your stories.
If I call ROC Republic of China, they would be confused. I always write Taiwan only. They recognize only Taiwan. In their minds, identity of Taiwan is Taiwan, not Republic of China. That confused them. Word China makes them go to Beijing only.
Yeah.
Even these days, I wonder why we are not using Taiwan name too much, and why we are sticking to a name which confused the larger audience in international arena.
Now, also for you, Suvam, interacting with your viewers, have you also seen this sort of kind of misunderstanding, maybe about some of the other terms like Chinese Taipei?
That's a very classic case because India is a huge base of for soccer fans or any sports fans. So in the world of sports, Taiwan is known as Chinese Taipei under Nagoya Declaration, and later IOC, International Olympic Committee, they had certain norms. So Taiwan has to abide by that. So that's why Chinese Taipei is a confusion among a lot of Indian viewers. And also the status of Taiwan, because China has been traditionally, I'm talking about People's Republic of China, they have been engaging with India through their soft power, whereas Taiwan hardly had any soft power presence in India. So that's why a lot of people, even though they know about Taiwan, they can't differentiate between Taiwan's independent de facto nationhood and some of them think that Taiwan is probably a restive province of mainland China. So there is always a confusion. We face that. But I think nowadays more Indians are being aware of the fact that Taiwan is a separate entity and it has its own constitution, own government, democratically elected government, own currency, own military, own justice system, which qualify Taiwan as a de facto nation.
You've been a producer for Connected and also now for Taiwan Talks. I'm curious to know, about all of the reports that you've done, which ones have actually caught the attention of viewers in India?
Traditionally, Indians want to see something cross-strait tension-related stories.
So something related to China?
Yeah, something related to China. Much to my surprise, stories about semiconductor, that really did well. Because India is now pushing hard for having its own semiconductor ecosystem. And Taiwan is one of the key countries which has been helping India. So I think from that perspective, I see a lot of viewership from India, viewers from India watching our semiconductor specific episodes. And also G20 is another event. India hosted G20 summit. So we covered for TaiwanPlus the G20 event. And that was quite a watershed moment, I would say, for TaiwanPlus, because one of our reports at that time that got the highest viewed. And then during the earthquake, April 3rd earthquake, Indian news channels, they approached us and they shared our content.
For you, Mukesh, have you had people asking you to report on specific stories, or have you seen any of the stories that you've covered get kind of a particularly big response from your viewers or from your readers?
Apart from tensions between mainland and this Taiwan territory, there are social issues which connect Indians to Taiwan. Like population is an issue. Here, population is in steep decline, and my country's population is 1.45 billion people.
Yeah.
So it's the largest democracy on earth, one of the tiniest democracy on earth. How both are negotiating. Before coming to Taiwan, I was talking to my friends in External Affairs Ministry. If you believe in one China policy, how you conduct business with Taiwanese? Whatever kind of interaction Chinese are having with Taiwan, we are going to the same level. So if they allow Taiwanese to come to China, and there is a free travel, people are moving, they are having business with Taiwan, same kind of relations we are having.
As you're observing media coverage, Indian media coverage of Taiwan, have you noticed a change in the last 20 years about how journalists in India report on Taiwan?
Yeah, I can talk about two watershed moments in India-Taiwan relations. One is the 2020 Galwan clashes between PLA and the Indian military, and subsequently...
That's border clashes,
yeah,
right?
The border clash.
Between China and India.
China and India,
yeah.
Where for the first time in the history of 40 years, there were bloodshed, there were fatalities. So that happened in June 2020, and then a few months later, a tweet by then Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen. She actually posted a photo of Taj Mahal, which is India's, I'd say, most prominent and popular tourism attractions. Her message was covered by most of the Indian media. And that's how I would say the India-Taiwan coverage by the Indian media, I would say, kick-started around that time. And then you see a lot of experts or guests talking about Taiwan. And Indian media also had a lot of Taiwan-based scholars in their panels discussing China, Taiwan.
Essentially put Taiwan on the map for a lot of Indians. What was the second incident you were talking about?
Nancy Pelosi's visit.
Okay, so this is the former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who came to Taiwan just a couple years ago. A very high-profile visit. Of course, it made Beijing very angry about that visit. And so that was covered widely in the Indian press.
Yes. At that time, because India was still, coming to terms with the Galwan border clashes with China, the entire country had a very negative perception about China. U.S. Top official, Congresswoman, she was visiting Taiwan. That created a media headline, and Indian media also kind of embraced that headline, and they were covering it a lot.
Why Indians are more curious to know this fact that how come Taiwan-like country, which is so population having just 2.3 crore, and their army is not as large as PLA is, how come they are having a courage to survive the onslaught of Xi Jinping or PLA? So it's most curious part in my audience mind. And I trying to make them understand that in today's world of technology, the size does not matter. Like if a girl of just 14-year-old having a gun in her hand is more powerful than a bodybuilder.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Now, in your time covering defense and covering foreign affairs, have you also seen a change in the way the Indian government or Indian officials approach Taiwan?
I think there is a very cautious approach in our establishment so far as Taiwan is concerned. We do not have good relation, may not be having good relation with China, but every time they talk about Taiwan, they are a little cautious in their approach that we should not be ruffle the feather of such a big country. And there is kind of balancing act always there so far as Taiwan and China is concerned. I was very curious why we call it Taipei Educational and Cultural Center. Here we call our de facto embassy as India, Taipei.
So neither of these representative offices are called
and
embassies.
Here after my stay in Taiwan, I'm coming to know that how much Chinese are worried about Taiwan being labeled as the real name. I was not knowing this fact that why we are calling their de facto embassy in New Delhi as Taipei Cultural Center, not Taiwan Educational and Cultural Center.
If I may add one more thing, the Indian government's policy towards Taiwan has been very, I would say, not so consistent, both ways, even Taiwan government to a great extent. In 2014, when the current Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was sworn in as the new Prime Minister of India, he made a new change in protocol, and he invited the Taiwan representative in India at that time during the swearing in. So officially, the Taiwan ambassador at the time, he was invited to Narendra Modi's oath-taking ceremony. When Mr. Modi won the next election and became the Prime Minister for the second time, the Taiwan de facto ambassador or the representative was not invited. So
Would you say that over time, though, things have gotten closer between Taiwan and India?
Things have become really closer if you see the trade volume, economic ties. I mentioned about semiconductor and other sectors, and that's very interesting. In India, some of the Taiwanese companies are operating for more than 2 decades. Some of the shoemakers, they have been there for ages. Even some of the electronics companies, they are there forever. But not too many people know about Taiwan's existence, I would say, in India. But nowadays, I think more and more people in India, they are getting to know about Taiwan's, like as you mentioned, the Taiwan punches above its weight.
One disappointment is there in our establishment about Taiwan is we are having just $13 billion trade between India and Taiwan.
Yeah.
And Taiwan's trade with ASEAN countries is more than $186 billion. So that has been a disappointment on part of our establishment. And second is this, that Taiwanese are not giving the same kind of visa as Indians are offering to Taiwanese.
Interesting.
We are offering e-visas to Taiwanese. And we are talking about direct flight between Taiwan and India. So it's for making that success, Taiwan should consider giving e-visas to Indians so that large number of Indians are coming to visit Taiwan.
Well, we've been talking with senior reporter Mukesh Kaushik and TaiwanPlus producer Suvam Pal. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Andrew Ryan. We'll see you next time.